But let's crack into this one, as I've got an absolute lad ready to share some laddish stories. For you Kiwis who don't follow English Premiership, the name might not ring a bell, but for all of you English Premiership fans, well, it still might not ring a bell to you, but I promise you that this guy is an absolute lad and a very talented young rugby player who is about to explode onto the English Premiership scene when he gets a chance. It is, of course, young Jacob Snakob Atkins. Welcome, Snake. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me on, Tony. Mate, I'm surprised you got time to chat to me at the moment. Haven't you just had number 3?
I have indeed, mate, but we've always got time for you, the talented
that's true.
man that is the Snake. So what's happening over there anyway? What's the situation with COVID and the rugby?
I don't know if much of your listeners in New Zealand are following what's going on in the UK, but we are still very, very much in national lockdown. It's a bit of a shambles, mate. They've totally fucked it up. The cases are still high, so it is literally a case at the moment, mate, of go in, train, go home. Don't leave your house unless you go to the shops. True. I don't know what that was called for you guys, but it's tier 4 or 5 here. I don't remember.
But you're still allowed to train.
Yep, yeah. So professional sports still allowed to go on. So we're allowed to go in and train and do all our normal stuff. Yeah.
And that's just normal. You can be 15 on 15. There's no restrictions around training or anything like that.
Masks in the gym, meetings outside. Training's all normal, but you're not allowed face-to-face contact. So actually, in the last couple of weeks, they banned face-to-face celebrations.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which is, I was on the bench for one of the games in the European Cup, and one of the boys scores under the sticks, and I run over, jump right on him, pretty much kiss him in the face, a real screaming in his face. Back off, bloke goes down with COVID 2 days later, and I have to self-isolate, and they're sending out the footage like, oh, this guy needs to go. So they banned face-to-face celebrations.
Oh, is that what Curtis Rona's celebration was all
about?
Yeah,
did you see it? Yeah.
Did the
I think you can get fined. I think you can get fined. Teams can get fined and stuff if players take the piss with it.
The team does, or the player?
Hopefully the team. Yeah.
Hopefully the team. You got a fine. But what about the competition? What's that? What's the setup there? Like, how far through the season are you, and how the game's been going?
Yeah, mate. So the Premiership's it's hard to keep track of how many rounds we're actually in, because there've been a couple of games that have been cancelled due to COVID. Basically, if any team gets any positive cases, their game is cancelled. They have to be contact traced to the team they played last, so potentially their game could then get cancelled as well. Sure. We had 2 games we lost to COVID because we had a few positive tests for 2 weeks. Most teams have had at least one. Either they've had positive tests or the team they're playing has had a positive test. So it is hard to keep track of actually how many rounds we're through. But I think it's 8. But there's some teams have played 8. Some teams have played 6. Yeah.
But you guys have moved to Brentford Stadium now. So how's that been?
Yep, yeah, mate. It's real cool. I mean, before we were at Majeski, which was a great stadium, but kind of out in the middle of nowhere. The new stadium in Brentford is, it's a brand new stadium, state of the art facility just outside central London. It's gun, mate. It's such a nice facility. We managed to get out there in pre-season to play like an in-housey, to get a feel for it, which was so cool. And then we haven't actually. Oh no, we've had fans in once. Sure. Of all the games we played this season, we had fans in for the 1 week that the lockdown was eased here. We were allowed 2,000 fans in, and it was brilliant, mate. It was really, really good. The week after, we were told we weren't allowed fans anymore. So it's strange playing in a brand new stadium with no one in it, but I'm sure it'll be rocking when this thing gets sorted.
Yeah, because your fans will be battling with that, because that's one thing I definitely remember over there is how passionate those London Irish fans were. Even when we're in the Championship, far out, we were getting massive turnouts and everyone was still like right behind the side. I could only imagine what they'll be like now, and then to have this restriction, that would just be absolutely killing them.
Yeah, 100%. Like, there must be the most loyal fans in England, do you reckon? Like, being through multiple relegations and promotions, following us up and down the country to grounds in the middle of nowhere. Like you said, I remember every time we'd go to Pirates, it'd be stacked out like 4,000 or 5,000 fans would have made an 8-hour round trip or whatever to come and watch us play in a game that had no effect on whether we were going to win the comp or not. It's class. So yeah, it's a club that's really important to lots of people. And like you said, I think especially during lockdown at the moment, there'll be a lot of people that are pretty gutted they can't be there. Luckily, on BT Sport, they've started showing all the games. So you can go on the red button and watch every single game. So hopefully there won't be too many fans that aren't actually able to see the stuff, but it'd be good to get them back soon.
And your form, I mean, you still, every time I look at the team sheet, I'm always disappointed not to see Big Jake getting a run. Another sort of frustrating year for you so far in that respect.
It is frustrating, like you say. Like it would be good to be involved more in terms of playing time, but it's a strange one for me at the moment, mate, because I feel really, really confident in my game. When I have had my opportunities, I think I've gone well. I feel like I know my game really well, and I'm really confident with my skills and my decision making and stuff. So it's kind of like, on the one hand, I feel really good about myself and about my game and really confident. And on the other hand, it's like, well, I'm not playing that much. It's a bit frustrating.
Yeah.
You don't know what it's like because you're fast track as, but like lots of the people listening will know what it's like when you're not playing. It can be a bit of a battle, yeah.
Mate, you're only 23, aren't you?
Yeah. 23.
Yeah, so I definitely not cracked it by 23, so you've still got lots of time. I can tell you that I was not fast tracked like you think.
Thank God.
But you are just pretty much waiting for your opportunity, aren't you, to get some regular game time and then let England see what a talented 10 they have sitting in their squad.
Yeah. Like COVID actually ended up being pretty good for me last year because they had to end up doubling up some weeks. So you'd have like Saturday game, Wednesday game, Sunday game.
Yeah.
So I got a few starts and stuff at the back end of last season, which was good. But it'd be good to get a few more soon.
And talk me through the hair. Obviously, that was a big decision that was always on your mind from a young age. You were vulnerable to a bit of lasagna at an early age, and you've decided to just get rid of that threat and shave it all off. So talk me through that decision and how tough that was.
Well, what do you think about my look at the moment, boss? I'm going after sort of styled on my hero, Ben Franks, like kind of...
You definitely look like Ben Franks. You pulled that off.
The lasagna. I mean, you're getting on now, Jimmy. You're not catching any lasagna, or are you still all good?
No, I'm still.
You've got a cap on most days. The famous black cap. So I don't know if you've actually got a bit of lasagna.
No, I'm all right with the lasagna. It's just the full on greys for me, which is the danger. Which is
that's
basically why I wear the cap all the time. But yeah, the lasagna is always a dangerous spot when the sun's out. I know it's not sunny over there at the moment.
Yeah, Mike Coleman, another famous victim of a lasagna in the summer.
Yeah, for those people who don't know what a lasagna is, it's when you get burnt in the vulnerable patches around where the receder starts to form, and some people get caught out pretty heavily. I remember you get caught out a few times, but if it starts peeling or crusting, it almost looks like a little bit of lasagna in the top of your head. So that sort of caught on, and I think most people around the world refer to it as lasagna if they get sunburnt up there now. So
they will do now. It's funny you bring that up though. Like I had my head shaved for a couple of years now. We've got a good crew of bald lads at Irish now. Billy Meeks over, another bald icon. Ollie Hoskins as well.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of a good crew of us. But mate, I remember back in the day, like one day I just came into training and Gordy Reid, like it was actually in the middle of a 15-on-15 session that whistle blew or whatever and went into drill. He literally just walked past me and he was like, mate, please just come round mine tonight. I'll make you some dinner. We'll have a chat. Shave your head. It'll be the best thing you ever do. And then I was like, all right. I did, went round. He was living with Saya, Faenga, and went round, had dinner with them, shaved my head, and then never looked back, mate. What do you reckon?
No, I like it. I do think it was a good decision. I mean, you were just hanging on. I think some people hang on for too long, but you've made the call pretty early. It must have been, 22 when you decided then, were you?
21, I think. 21, yeah.
Oh, so young, but no regrets. Look at that. And do you think it's helped your form at all? Hard to tell because you haven't been playing, but...
I've gotten stronger since. Maybe that's because I've gotten older, but maybe, I don't know.
Franksy.
Gotten stronger. Franksy, there you go, yeah. Loving the gym, now I'm bald. Has it helped my game? No. I'd like to say, like, maybe it made me seem a bit tougher or whatever, but anyone that's watched my clips has not fallen for that.
You need to take your head.
I don't know. God, that might be the end of my career if I start doing that, Jim. Jeez. If I ever start taping my head, give me a ring and tell me sack it in.
I know we used to joke about it, but you, do you think the coaches know how young you are? Because, I mean, you always looked a lot older than you were. Like 21, hardly any hair left. Do you think the coaches know that you're only actually 23?
Well, I mean, at Irish, the turnover of players, mate, has been so high. The only players that have been there longer than me are Blair Cowan and Ollie Hoskins at the same time as Theo Brophy-Clues was signed the year before me.
Yeah.
But other than that, mate, like I've been there longer than most people and I'm 23. So it is actually a thing. I do think sometimes when I go in for a meeting with Decky, I think about that. I can actually slip in that I'm not a 29-year-old, 30-year-old battler here, like just in case he thinks I am.
Are you in the leadership groups and stuff?
No. Yeah. No, we've got there's like 4 lads in our leadership group.
Oh yeah, very select crew. Anyway, let's go back to the start for the young Jacob Atkins. When did the snake first wriggle out of his egg? Talk me through that.
So I'm going to outline this whole section by saying my family are massive code heads. Like my brother's a professional player as well, plays Irish. He signed a year after you left, I think. You never played with him, did you?
I remember your brother because Moose still gives me shit to this day about him dominating me on a hit shield one training.
yes. He was in the academy and he came in and trained with us.
Yeah, that's right. And Moose still, he's into me all the time about it, how he just absolutely buoyed me. I just wasn't really expecting... You know how most guys you've got gentleman agreements with, especially me. Like I was not a massive, and he's just come in 100 and absolutely smoked me. And Mood was watching from the sideline, just cracking up, and I was like, "Oh, I need to get out of this."
Jeez, I remember going into the changing room after that and just getting absolutely heckled by the boys. Like, "Oh, Snakey's got shooters out here trying to take out the other 10s. Like, he just wants game time. He sent his brother out here to fill Jimmy in."
Did you have a part of that? Maybe you did, now that you mentioned
No. Because I did build up a bit of a reputation there because of a few unfortunate incidents in a row, wasn't there? I kicked a ball in Steely's face and knocked him out.
Oh, that's right.
And then I injured somebody else in a training game because I fell on their knee. And then there was like 3 in a row or something like that. And then everyone started saying that I was out trying to injure people to get a game.
Anyway, let's get back to your childhood.
Yeah, let's get back. So, I remember my old man was a big fan, had always been a big rugby fan, and I'm kind of part of that generation in England where we won the World Cup in 2003, and then my old man would have taken me down to my local club in maybe 2004. I don't know if that's right on the money with the numbers, but it was about there. Sort of off the back of Johnny Wilkinson and the Rugby World Cup win and all that.
Yeah.
So I went down to my local club, played there, was real average, like real skinny kid. Like all my memories from that time were just of being cold all the time, like shivering, not wanting to be there. But I loved rugby. We were season ticket holders at London Irish. My old man used to through like work get a couple of tickets for the England game. So every now and then, if one of his colleagues dropped out or whatever, I'd managed to sneak in to a Six Nations game or something. Like absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
And then went through school. I went to just a normal state secondary school here in the UK, but it just happened by pure chance to be a school that ended up having a really good couple of years of rugby teams. Johnny Williams was in the year above me.
Yeah.
obviously in the Wales squad now. Jack Cook was in my year, who's in the London Irish squad with me now. And there was a couple of other guys that have gone on and become like real good club players. And then our rugby coach at the school, again, like this is a little state school that is, in the middle of nowhere. Our coach was a really good rugby coach. He's actually one of the academy coaches at London Irish now.
Oh, yeah.
And so we all kind of, from 11 till 16, were playing rugby there, and we'd go around and play all the big private schools, and we'd end up pumping a lot of the private schools. I made a few county teams and rep teams and stuff, but I was never gun. Like, just loved the game, proper gnaws, loved working on my kicking and my passing and all that kind of stuff. So went through, and then when you get to 16, and I don't know much about your system over there, but in the UK, there's two pathways to get into a Premiership team. You either go to or get a scholarship at one of the big private schools and go play first 15 rugby, or there are these programs called ACE programs. Yeah. Do you remember hearing about those when you were over here?
Yeah.
And basically the way they work is their programs, each Premiership team runs a program where they're linked with a college, and players can go there, do their A-levels or BTEC qualifications alongside training in a full-time professional environment at the club's training ground. So when I was 16, the year before me, Johnny had gone and done the program, and I'd seen he was going real good, and his career was really starting to take off. So I thought, what do I have to lose? Tried for that, and ended up moving to Sunbury, just around the corner from the London Irish training ground. Moved in with a family. So I lived in Diggs, like a local family, took me in. I had like a bedroom there.
Sure.
They were brilliant, really became like my second family, fed me real good, really nice people. So I lived with them for 2 years, which at 16 was a bit difficult, I guess, moving away from home and kind of being separated from your support network a little bit. But
so how far were you from your home?
Only like an hour,
yeah.
But when you can't drive and you're 16, it's quite far.
Yeah.
And obviously, not going home to mum every night is, it's different. That is something I'd never done before.
Yeah.
And I think that actually really helped me getting away from home and away from my comfort zone and stuff. I kind of just thought, well, I'm here, I might as well throw myself all in. So properly threw myself all into that program. So, I was training every day in the program. I was getting in extra training with Decky Danaher was running the program at that time, and James Lightfoot Brown was the backs coach there. So two really good coaches who now both work with our first team. I just remember spending my whole time nosing them off, trying to get them to do extra stuff with me, trying to ask why I wasn't getting picked in, if I wasn't playing for the academy team at the weekend or whatever. And went through that. Just I think I really improved quickly in that program. It is kind of one of those fast programs where it's full on. You're training 5 days a week. You're playing a game against other Premiership programs every week, and you do kind of either sink or swim. A lot of the guys actually end up finding out they don't like rugby and really turn their back on it. And sadly, some of the guys never end up playing club rugby, or they just go to uni and sack it all in.
Yeah. Or
you get guys on the other end of the spectrum that are just this is for me. I want to be a professional rugby player, and throw themselves fully into it. And it's the best way to fast track yourself into that program, I think.
Yeah.
So then from that program and all the local private schools in the area. So I guess this is where it's similar to your system over in New Zealand. The best players from the ACE program and the private schools will get put into the academy team. And then that academy team of 15, 23 players, they go out and play in the academy premiership. And then the best players from that team get signed onto senior academy contracts, which is when they start their training with the first team.
Yeah.
So I was in the ACE team, didn't make the academy team in my first year. Towards the end of the season, I started getting on the bench a bit, but really wasn't really in the mix. And then in my second year, I made the academy team and just happened to be in a stacked team. we had an absolutely stacked team. We had it was Cookie in the back row with Isaac, Rory Brand at 9, me at 10, Joe Coconasiga and Benny Loader on the wings, Matty Williams, Theo, Ollie Hassel-Collins, Tom Parton was like our backline, a combination of that stuff. And we won the Academy Premiership, and 7 of those boys got offered contracts at like Christmas. I didn't get offered one. There's a couple of other guys that didn't get offered one. And I remember being pretty gutted, but I was getting told, oh, look, you're in the shop window, you're working hard. Like, I kind of always took it as like, oh, you're not that good, but like you work really hard, so you're in the shop window because you work really hard. Yeah. And then I smashed my ankle up real bad. I kind of got my nose through the line on a starter play, like went to try and get my hands free, and just remember, those ones where you get one high, one low, and your ankle gets folded.
Yeah.
So it was real bad. Like, separated my foot, broke my ankle, and I knew I was going to be out for 6 months. 6 months. And I remember thinking, like, well, it's Christmas. I'm going to be out for 6 months. I've not been offered a contract yet. Like, this is probably going to be it for me. Like, I'm going to go to university and have a crack at playing club and trying to work my way up to the Premiership.
What age were you here?
What was that?
What age were you here?
So I would have been 17 or 18.
Oh, yeah.
So it was the December before I would have met you, before the summer you would have signed. And I remember just being like, like this is done for me. And then that night when I got home from the hospital, Becky Danaher gave me a ring and was like, look, mate, like, I'm gutted to see your season's over. Don't like lose hope. I'm going to push really hard here for you in the academy coaches meetings, and he's like, I'm really going to have you back here, but like in return, I need you to smash this rehab and go in and show Kendo and the other guys in the academy coaching team that like you're going to be super professional. He was like, you obviously can't play, so go in and show you are going to be super professional. So I was like coming in before school, doing gym, doing like multiple rehab sessions a day, just doing anything like, and like the classic, like going in, like just making sure Kendo sees you when you're walking in the gym, stuff like that. Like,
morning, Kendo.
Morning, Kendo. How are you, boss? Yeah, just going in. Nice, 3rd session of the day. Yeah, let's see it. And then, I managed to get back a couple of weeks early from when I was expected, and I managed to get myself on the bench for an A-League game, which is what would you call that over in New Zealand? Like reserve comp.
Yeah.
It's a Premiership reserve comp, so it's young guys coming back from injury, stuff like that. Managed to get myself on the bench for that, came on for like 5 minutes, like touched the ball twice, tried to throw a triple knife, threw it into touch, but I just remember being like, I've got myself back for this game that I shouldn't have been playing in, like maybe there's a chance, like maybe. And then Kendo pulled me in and was like, look, mate, we've seen you obviously want this bad, like, we're going to give you this contract. It sucks. It's absolute peanuts. You come in, do preseason with the first team. Like in the senior academy, you do preseason with the first team. We'll see what happens. Here you go. And I remember just being like, oh my God, this is my chance. This is my chance.
Yeah.
Like, and then just like threw myself fully into that preseason. Did everything a million miles an hour. Which ended up holding me back a little bit because they were like, chill out, you're way too stressed, you're playing 10, you need to be calm and relaxed, please. But in that season, I think by the end of that preseason, they'd extended me onto a proper secure contract, and I was kind of underway into working up towards the first team, and I got a few games that season. Met Jimmy Marsh, took me under his wing, taught me how to stay square. I ended up playing a couple of games. The next season I played a few more games, and then eventually I signed my first senior contract 2 seasons ago.
How good. But you've been loaned out to a couple of championship sides too as well, haven't you, to get a little bit more game time? How have they been? Yeah,
for sure, mate. Our class, I loved it. Like, I'm one of those all players I like it. You just want to play.
Yeah.
Like, training's good, and you can try and challenge yourself and make little competitions for yourself in training, but it's not the same. And I guess we're lucky in England that we've got sort of a clear structured system where if you're at a Premiership club and you're not playing, you can go get loaned out to a Championship club or a National One club if you're a bit younger, and go play club rugby. So I played for some teams that, mate, absolutely loved it. Like I played for a team called Rams. They're in National One. They're trying to push themselves to get to the Championship now. In my first season, I went there, like the most I've ever enjoyed playing rugby, mate. Proper club rugby, proper good lads, proper good diesel. Like they sent it every weekend, mate, so hard. I remember being like this, like I first started playing for them when I was like 17, being this like little lad at the back of the bus, like, and like they're on a trip back from Cornwall or whatever, because in that South England pool you play everyone. Yeah. So imagine like the Pirates away trip, these lads are sending it like doing like butt funnels and all that, and I'm just there in the back like and then the next season I got loaned out to a slightly better team, and then the season after that I got loaned out to a slightly better team, played for Bedford and London Scottish, and ended up playing a decent amount of champ rugby. It's really good. If you're not fast track and you're not playing in the Premiership when you're 19, it's a really good way to learn your trade, and you end up meeting some class lads that like you have such a good time with while you're trying to also improve as a player. It's a really good way to develop, I think.
Yeah. So how does that work? You still had to train with London Irish, but then you'd get loaned out on what, Thursday night or something?
It's tough. A lot of it depends on the schedule of the team you're going to. So if you're going to, let's say, a National One team or some of the Championship teams, they run a proper club rugby schedule. So train Tuesday nights, train Thursday nights, play Saturday.
Yeah.
So you do like your whole training week with Irish, and then Tuesday and Thursday nights go also do an evening training session with those teams, and then front up for them on Saturday, and then be back in on Monday morning for with Irish. Some of the other teams like Bedford and London Scottish, they're full-time professional teams. So it would be a case of like Monday I'd be in with Irish, Tuesday in with Scottish, Thursday in with Scottish, Friday team run play, come back in on Monday at Irish. And then you do end up getting a little, if it's not well organised, you do end up being all over the place. Like I remember one day I was in the car driving to Scottish training at like 11 a.m. and you were probably in the massage room or whatever. And I remember getting a call from BV being like, "Where are you?" And I was like, "BV, I'm on loan at London Scottish. Like I'm playing for them this weekend. That's why I'm there." And he was like, "Get into Hazelwood now. I've got no tens for training." And I was like, "Oh, but BV, like this is a Tuesday. We're preparing for a big game. Like I'm starting at the weekend for this club." And he was like, "No, get in now." So like full handbrake turn straight back to Hazelwood. Come in, train, call the London Scottish coach, apologise as to why I couldn't be there to train for this game I'm playing in at the weekend.
So who did you play for?
So it can be like that.
Did you play for like London Irish? No.
For London, no, you would have been playing. BV wanted me in to train because he had no sense of training.
Oh, true.
And I think it was train to run Northampton's plays.
Oh yeah.
Like I think someone might have been at 10 for Irish, but he didn't have a 10 to run Northampton's plays, and he was like, "Get here now."
Oh, classic. And your goal kicking is another thing I wanted to talk about, because you're obviously like a guru goal kicker, 95+%. Just obviously haven't had the big stage to show the world that how quality you are at goal kicking. And I know there's a lot of people, especially Flying Finn, etc., who want to know a little bit more detail about your kicking routine. So talk me about your goal kicking routine. How'd you get so good?
Thanks, Jim. That's very kind, mate. I think I cut my teeth around some of the best in training, mate. What about the kicking king, Tommy Bell?
Yeah,
that's a hell of a guy to learn under. No, I think for me, I've worked with some top kicking coaches, and I've learned a lot from them. I've been really lucky and had some opportunities to work with some guys like Charlie Hodgson, for example, like just off the top of my head, who's, I think he's either the top Premiership point scorer or he's second or something. And had an opportunity to work with him, and I think I took a lot out of those in terms of improving my technique and learning more about my technique. But actually, I think the best kicking coach I've ever worked with is James Lightfoot-Brown, because the way I always instantly go to process things is to like massively overthink them and overanalyze them and end up trying too hard. And whenever I was kicking with him, he used to always just be like, mate, boot the ball through the posts. Like, put the oval in the rectangle. Like, it's not hard, just bang it. And he always used to say to me, like, if I was in a kicking session, he'd just walk over and just go, stand and bang. Like, just smack it as hard as you can. I think because he knew that I was putting in the work, like the foundation work, to have a good technique at a young age, and he knew that I was thinking about all these things, he'd just come over to me and be like, when you're practicing, forget about that, like, just bang it. And then it kind of got me into a place where I became really relaxed with kicking. I sort of saw it as just like, you're just kicking the ball through the posts. Like, yeah, I think so many guys can get bogged down in like, where's my foot? Where's my chest? Like, you know, I've seen you, believe it or not, I've seen you hit some good ones, and I have.
No one will believe this.
When you hit a good one, mate, you never go into it thinking like, all right, plant foot, tall chest, shift my weight through, and then excel through the post, and you're like, oh, brilliant. Whenever you do that, you end up like squirting it out to the right. Like, when you go into it just like thinking about nothing and you just smack it, it's clean, and that's when you hit your best kicks. I think something I learned was maybe less is more a bit sometimes, and actually spending 3 hours out there practicing your technique can actually make you worse. Whereas doing 20 minutes, 30 minutes regularly, putting yourself under lots of pressure in terms of doing competitions against other players. Like, we used to love kicking comps at Irish when you were there. We used to go real good in those. You used to go real good in those.
I went real good.
Do you remember the one I'm referring to in particular?
Because my hip was obviously real tired, and I used to just have to start hobbling off the field as soon as I saw those kicking.
See, but this was the thing, mate. Because you didn't moan and you wouldn't make a big deal about it, I don't think most of the boys knew this. Because I remember finding out your hip was fucked and being like, what? Because you're not the kind of guy that would like moan and be like, oh geez, my hip is sore today, like I can't do this extras. You just kind of like quietly sneak off.
Just smoke.
But I don't actually.
Yes,
you mate, smoke bomb king. I don't actually think that anybody knew that you had a shagged hip.
Well, that's good. I guess. Well, it's not. Maybe we need to tell them. That's why I wasn't doing those 3 hour extras with you. Jeez, I used to be out on that field for a long time though, and it's interesting hearing you talk about. That might have been too much, because I always thought that because you were out there for so long, that was probably why you were such a successful kicker. But it's interesting to hear you say that potentially less is more.
I do believe that there's a balance. I think also, like, similar to you, there was a point sort of towards the end of my second year where I like shagged up my hip I had osteitis pubis. Did I speak to you about it?
No.
I think quite a few of the guys in the Southern Hemisphere get it. It's something that happens quite often when the pitches are really hard.
Yeah.
But it was one of the worst things I've ever had. Basically, every time you go to run, every time you go to sprint and kick, it feels like somebody's stabbing you like in the bottom of your abs. And it's real bad. Like, you can get like real sharp pains in your balls and stuff as well. Like, it's a real niggle injury.
Jeez.
And I started getting that and thinking like, maybe I'm doing too much here. Like, this is not good, because like I can't get picked if I'm not fit. Yeah. And all I want to do is get picked. So what am I doing? I do, like I said earlier, I do think that like if you're out there for 2 hours, 3 hours, you're probably wasting most of your time. Nobody can be focused for 3 hours.
Yeah.
I think your best thing is to do half an hour tops, but super, super focused.
Yeah.
Putting yourself under pressure and trying to challenge yourself to get better rather than just going through the motions for 3 hours.
Geez, that's good advice from the kicking king. Well, number 2 kicking king behind Tommy Bell.
Yeah, I've got my advice from the kicking king. I'm just passing it on.
Well, one thing that happens at London Irish is the old paddle. So you have to run the gauntlet. After your first game, you have to sing a song. If you've listened to Mike Coman's podcast, he famously got paddled trying to sing
what did he sing?
Kelly, Ignition.
He just kept going again and again because he forgot the words.
So talk to me about your paddle experience. You would have got paddled for sure, no matter how good your song was.
Mate, I think I literally stepped up the front, picked up the microphone, and just heard Naz at the back, like, paddle, paddle. I can't remember. I actually can't remember what song I did.
Oh,
but I remember going up after Tom Parton, who'd just done a real sketchy version of Take That Shine and hadn't got paddled. So I was like, oh, this is golden. Like, I'm a better singer than him. I've got better song choices than him. Like, I'll be fine. Went up there, I swear to God, I sung like one verse. And then boys are like smashing the chairs, like There's people frothing at the mouth, like, paddle, paddle. Like, oh, yeah, took my shirt off, ran down, caught some serious slaps. I think Decky Danaher actually copped me the worst. I think he hit me with a shoe. I missed the back of the bus. I went to touch the back of the bus, and somebody's caught me right between the shoulder blades, and I fell. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, I've got to the back of the bus. I'll turn around. Yeah. Turned around, started running back towards the front. And then somebody's just stepped in the alleyway. Who would it have been? Probably Naz. And it's gone, you didn't touch the back. Go back. And this whole time I'm just getting belted. Like, run back, touch the back of the bus, get back to the front of the bus again. So I end up doing nearly 4 lengths. My back is like probably bleeding. Like, I'm this battered little like 70 kilo skinny kid. So after my first game, I'm thinking like, geez, when does it get good?
Oh, shit, that's good. So you honestly don't
remember
what
fun
song
though, isn't it? Like when it's not you, it's brilliant. It's the funniest thing in the world when it's not you.
Yeah. So you honestly don't remember
what did you do? I wasn't there for your first one.
I did Eminem, Lose Yourself, killed it, mic drop. Yeah. But a lot of it was
popular
who
though.
You are. Yeah, it is. A lot of it's who you are, not what you sing. But I was.
Yeah, there were boys ready to fill me in. Yeah.
Yeah, you could have done a Sam Smith spectacular version of one of the live acoustics, and you still would have got the pedal.
100%. 100%.
Oh, geez, that was a good story. But socials, another good part of London Irish that I remember over there. There's plenty of good socials because in New Zealand you obviously have your end of season dues. The seasons are a lot shorter. Sort of just builds up to a big end of season. Some have a mid-season thing, but London Irish, you've got heaps of socials throughout the year to keep the boys entertained and keep a good bond over everyone. Any good social experiences or memories from you?
Oh, we had some great ones, didn't we? We were really lucky. We had some really good social secs and social teams that organised those things. I remember for my first couple of years, was it Gilly and Louis?
Yeah.
Geez, they organised some good stuff. And then Steely and Seb took over for a little bit, and it was loose, but it was nowhere near as organised, nowhere near as smooth. And then the last couple of years, Matty Williams, Pat Cilliers took over for a bit, but yeah, it's been mainly Matty Williams. Has been running it recently, and mate, he goes good, organising the good social. But actually, the first time I would have probably become pals with you would have been on the Christmas social.
Oh yeah,
the legendary Christmas social. So, geez, Gilly and Louis were good at organising these. We basically got split the whole squad into 4 teams.
Yeah,
and there was like a real good variety in each team, like mix of ages. Mix of positions and stuff, maybe guys you wouldn't normally hang out with. And each team got told to start at a certain location, which was pubs basically dotted across southwest London. So I remember rocked up to we were at Orange Street, weren't we, in Richmond?
Oh, you're testing my memory now, but yeah, let's run with it.
But we were all in Christmas fancy dress. So we turned up there, and then behind there, the barman or something had an envelope of the next place we had to go to, and then it was like a trail you had to all follow, and all the teams were following different trails that eventually met up at Winter Wonderland at the end. And again, that would have been the first time I would have gone out with most of the lads, and mate, we had a loose team. We had Steely, Will Lloyd. You got to get him on. Geez, he's got some stories. You, George Robson. Who else did we have? Rano. He's not great value, but he's loose. Kibbo.
Yeah.
We have Kibbo as well. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Kibbo.
You've got a good memory.
That was gun. We went really well for that. And then I remember towards the end of that social, it ended up in one of the weirdest situations of my life. I was like 18. Bearing in mind I've been like a London Irish fan for my whole life. I was like 18 at a London Irish thing, and I ended up in a pub with 3 other people in the middle of nowhere in Kingston. You, Mike Coleman, and David Pace. Oh, and 5 people there, and Seb. Seb was there as well, Seb de Chavez. Yeah. And I remember thinking, like, how did I end up here? Like, we sat in this pub in the middle. So towards the end of the social, we were at Winter Wonderland or something. Everybody start breaking up into their own little groups to go sort of find their way home via various alcohol establishments in London. So we ended up at this one, and I remember you just being like, "Oh, Snake, come with me. We're going to the Bricklayers. I'm going to find Moo," because I think you'd been tasked with getting Moo home or something.
Oh yeah, probably.
So we got back to Kingston, spent ages on Google Maps trying to find this pub. Like, eventually we found it. I think we stopped at an off license on the way and got a few cans of like whatever disgusting thing they had to like keep us going. But I got to this pub and the pub was pretty empty. It was a pretty shit pub. I remember thinking, why are the boys here? And walk in and Mike Coleman and David Pace are battered, playing darts in the corner. So we walked over, like, start playing darts with the boys, going right, like, and we just kept getting brought these drinks and like pints, and then there was like some shots or something came around, and I remember thinking like, no one's paid for these, like, and there's nobody in this pub. Like, what's the crack here? We were going on for ages now. We played darts for ages. Like, I was steaming, but Mike and Pacey were cut. Like, they were absolutely out of it. And I remember this man comes over to Pacey and it's like, oh, look, Dave, I'm going to lock up now, mate. You've got to go home. Like, can you take your mates out? It's obviously the landlord. So Pacey's gone like, oh, don't worry, boys. Like, I've got a nice bottle of whiskey back at my place. Like, we'll go over there. So I'm thinking, oh, yeah, okay. Bit weird. I'm going to end up at Pacey's house. I don't really know him.
4 a.m.
He's like a 34-year-old battler at the time, and I'm like 18. This is my first night out with the lads. So we walk out the front of the pub, and I remember thinking like, oh, are we going to get an Uber or something? Like, how are we going to get to Pacey's? He literally walks straight across the road, straight into the house opposite the pub. Starts trying to put his key in the door. So I'm like, all right, I started piecing together. This is obviously Pacey's local that we've ended up in. And we've gone straight back to his house. Opens up the front door, like all the lights are off and stuff, going into the kitchen. And I remember he said something like, oh, lads, keep it down. Like, I've got a young baby or whatever. Like, keep it down.
Sleeping,
Yeah, he just had a kid, hadn't he? And then he goes top shelf in the kitchen, pulls down a bottle of whiskey, goes to pass it to Moo, but like puts the bottle out in front of Moo. Moo does nothing with his hands and just lets the bottle go, and it smashes straight on the kitchen floor. There's like this loud smash. I think we're still in the dark as well at this point. Smashes all over the floor, and then there's this like awkward silence where everyone's like, and then like slowly everyone kind of starts to relax a bit. Like Pacey starts laughing, like all the boys like, this is funny. And I just remember the kitchen door opening, and just this woman coming in, just going, David Pace, what the fuck are you doing? You've got a fucking 3-month-old kid asleep in the next room, and you bringing these fucking idiots around to my fucking house. Get the fuck out of here. And I remember us bolting out the door and you just screaming like, good luck, Pacey. And then yeah, we were out of there. We got an Uber back to Mike Coleman's Teddington residence. Oh, jeez, what a place!
The mansion.
Carried Moo into the door back there, and that's when I've got all those videos of all the boys trying to undress Moo and get him into bed.
Look after him, get him in safely.
Oh, yeah.
What a social. Oh,
there were some good ones, mate. There were some good ones.
And what about your date with big Philo Palo?
Fizzy P. That was another good one. So we'd had a hard block of pre-season, hadn't we? It was like the first block of pre-season, and they'd organised like a long weekend trip for us to Bournemouth, which, if you're not from the UK, Bournemouth's kind of like a nothing seaside town kind of thing. Sort of like no one really, I don't really know where it is. So they carted the whole team off and all support staff and everyone for this like 3-day thing in Bournemouth. And like the first day we did like all the generic stuff, didn't we? Like fucking did we go out on the water? Did we go on
paddleboarding and stuff? I think.
Did we go paddleboarding or jet skiing or like something like that? The first day, and it was freezing cold and everyone was hating it.
Yeah, that's right.
But the second day, they'd organised this thing where you had to go around Bournemouth in teams. And there was like challenges you had to get done. So the challenges were like, take a picture here, down a pint here, eat the fastest pancake at this restaurant that we had to get to. And like all the venues we were going to like knew what was going on. And we were all in the different teams, and you'd get points for completing different things. And then there was supposed to be a team that would win at the end. And you had to take video evidence of it all so they were going to put a video back together when we got back to the club.
Yeah.
So we went through ours, and we were going good. We had a good team: Matty Williams, you, Blair, a couple of other lads, but Fizzy P. And one of our last things that we'd left on our list of things to do was get a day on the Bournemouth Eye, which is like a really naff version of the London Eye, like one of those spinny round things. We'd like left it towards like the end, and this is like we've been going since like 10 a.m. so everyone's pretty fed up. Like, how are we going to do this? Like, I think we've gone and approached a few birds maybe and been like, oh, will you go on a date with one of us at the Bournemouth Eye? And they're all like, get out of here, like, you losers. So I think at one point Jimmy was like, you were like, oh, we could always dress Snakob as a bird. And I was like, what? And Blair, I remember Blair being like, shit, that's a good idea. So then I got, again, I'm this is still in my first season, so I'm very much down the bottom of the pecking order, don't have much say in this. We went up to this charity shop, like got this like horrible skimpy dress. Someone else went to a fancy dress shop and got a wig, high heels, like the boys dressed me up as a girl. And then Fizzy P, who's like 6'6", 6'7", absolutely massive. We made this video of me going on a date with him on the Bournemouth Eye. And in the video, you can see people in the background. Like the beach was packed on that day. It was like a Saturday afternoon in summer. And you can just see people like turning their heads watching us like, oh, geez, it was bad. We're going on this wheel. We took a few selfies on the thing for the competition. And all the boys were cracking up. It was real good. And I remember on the way down, as I was getting out of the Bournemouth Eye, I saw a kid, like a 5-year-old kid and his mum, and the kid was wearing a London Irish hoodie. And I just remember thinking like, oh, geez, like, please.
Do you reckon they knew you were a bloke, or did they reckon you pulled it off pretty well, eh? You had very feminine legs.
Oh, yeah. It was good. I was good. But then it kind of became a bit of a thing. And then there was a couple other socials where I went dressed as a woman because it kind of become a thing. Like, oh, it's a social, it's fancy dress. Like, Snape, I'm dressed as a bird. Yeah. I did for a party. I did a real good. We did a Game of Thrones one. I went as Daenerys with Ben Loader. He went as Khal Drogo. Did you see the picture of that?
Yeah.
But yeah, geez, that was one of those situations that you get in as a younger player in the squad where you're like, I can't say no because, well, I don't have a say.
How was it going around the what is it, the Ferris wheel thing?
I just remember being real scared because I actually didn't really know Fila that well at the time. Like I didn't really know him that well. He'd only been there for a couple months, and I was obviously not very senior. Yeah, I remember just thinking like, that's a bit awkward. So, who did you play for before you signed here? Like, just sat there and like, oh, cool. You brought your family over yet? Or, oh, nice. Like, it was a bit like that. Do you know what I mean? I'm there dressed as this bird with like my arse hanging out the back of this dress.
Oh, classic. Oh, some of the greats. Any more social stories you got for the Waddlehead listeners?
Oh, no more that aren't touch and go. I'd be dropping a few boys in it. I'd have to get permission for some of the stories. Oh, yeah, not that I can think of off the top of my head, mate.
There might be a few more that come through on the questions. A few guys have asked some good questions, but before we get to that, what's next for Big Jacob Atkins? What's your plans? How long have you signed with London Irish, and how long are you looking to stay there?
Just come up to the end of a 2-year contract, actually, mate. I'm out of contract at the end of the season.
Oh, true.
So normally by Christmas, like as you'd know, normally by Christmas, most recruitment stuff would be getting wrapped up. All the boys would know what their plans are for next year and stuff. But because of COVID and like I said, we're only like 6, 7, 8 weeks into the season. That's all back quite a bit in the UK. So it's almost like the start of the season.
Yeah.
So I don't really know at the moment. I'd like to stay at Irish. I really like it there. Like I said, it's obviously a team I've supported since I was young, but also I've got a really good group of friends there that I've come through the academy playing with. I like all the staff. I like coming into work every day and working with those people. So I'd like to stay there, but yeah, I'm out of contract at the end of the year. So hopefully you get some game time, and then we'll see what happens.
Would you look to go overseas?
Depends. Well, if you were running the team, maybe. Or what? Are you going to offer me a contract here live on the pod, exclusive?
Free rent at Mike Coman's house down the road.
Geez, that would be a good gig, actually.
Oh, that's another thing.
Stay with Mike, play some Tassie.
Is it true you once told Kendo that you had a threesome with Mike and his wife, didn't you? That must seem
this is actually a good yarn from another social. So this will, for anyone who listens to the pod that doesn't know Jimmy, what he does is he does this thing where he like lures you into a false sense of security by setting you up to say something stupid, and then will use it against you for the rest of your life. So I remember, like, again, being maybe even on that first social when we were with Moo, being sat there like, no, it was, we'd gone to Moo's, the story I was telling earlier, when we'd end up back at Moo's. The next time we went out, you were like, oh, you saw Loz at Moo's place the other day, like, what do you think? Moo's punching pretty good, isn't he? Like, she's pretty hard. I was like, yeah, she looks nice. Yeah, for sure. And then I remember, like, Moo coming in, like, one day and be like, Snake, I've heard you. How do you mean trying to go for my wife? And I was like, what? And he was like, yes, some of the boys have been saying that you've got a thing for my wife or something. Like, and at that point, I was like, oh. Right, you sent me up a treat. Well done. So essentially, all I'd done was reply yes to a question, but this has now become a thing. And I remember after we won the championship, we had a lock-in at Hazelwood.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Which is the training ground. We had a lock-in, and it was like real good. Like we'd had the game. It was an even game, and then we'd gone straight back to the training ground. And I remember I was going to get a round of drinks or something, and you were like, oh. Was it Ollie had just been born maybe? And you were like, can I borrow your phone to call my wife to make sure that everything's all good with the baby and just so I can relax and have a good night or whatever. So like, oh, knock yourself out. Like, here's my phone. I'll go get us the drinks. I think we were probably sat with Moo at the time. I came back to my phone and you're in stitches, like cracking up. And I'm like, for fuck's sake, why have I done this? Gone on my phone, scrolled through, gone on my Instagram messages, and Jimmy has sent Mike's wife a message on my account. I might have to read it. I'll try to find it now. Sent this message, and I just remember thinking, oh. Hey Loz, Jacob Atkins here, Academy star player at London Irish. I love you and always have since the first social last year. I know this might sound a bit crazy, but if you're ever keen to cheat on Mike, then I'm your man. Oh. And yeah, and then so that same night, I went into the bathroom for a piss, and I'm stood at the urinal, and Kendo, the club DOR, the big boss, stands next to me at the urinal and just kind of goes, Snakey, I heard you trying to fuck Moo's wife. I was like, oh, how is this? This happened 20 minutes ago, Kendo. How is this spread already? Oh, jeez.
What did she reply back?
She replied back, laughing faces, I'll be sure to let you know. Oh, geez, she's good value, isn't she?
Oh, that's classic. So maybe you won't be staying with me if you do come here. It might be a bit awkward. But would you seriously come to New Zealand for a contract, would you?
So I've spoken to Sophie, my girlfriend, about would we ever potentially look at going overseas, and she's real keen for it. I think something we both love the opportunity to do is live in Japan, for even if it was just for a short period of time. That's obviously something you've done. It would be cool to experience something really different.
Yeah.
New Zealand, I've actually never been to New Zealand or Australia. I'd love to come over. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm real open-minded. And I love rugby, so I'll go anywhere for some good rugby.
Love rugby and a lad. How good. Anyway, let's get to some of these questions, because I know, popular man like yourself, you've had a few good ones come through. Okay. First question, are you able to bench press more than your body weight yet?
Yes.
What's your bench press up to? Is this a bit of a running joke? Or are you always poor at bench press?
So I was always real skinny. I always used to make a lot of excuses for myself in the gym as well. Like I'd really struggled with like not injuries, but it was sort of like long-term niggles.
Yeah.
Like I'd always had dodgy knees and a bit of a dodgy back or whatever. And I'd always kind of been like, oh, that's why I'm not going so hard in the gym.
Mm.
And then last year at Irish, we had a new S&C coach rock up, a guy from Glasgow. He's called Derek. And he was just like fully just like got into me like, mate, I don't care. Like, get this up. Like, you're stronger than you think you are. Get this up. Eat more. And he just texted me through the day like, eat now. Come in, lift now. It's your day off. Come in, lift. So I actually made some real good progress recently. I've got 140 up.
Jeez, that's good stuff.
For one. Yeah, I've got 140 up for one. I think my breast probably, I've got 135 for 3.
Oh.
I think maybe it's my best.
Jeez.
So yeah, I can bench. I don't weigh 136,
no,
so I can bench my body weight.
Almost double, I'd imagine. Okay, next question. Why do they call you Snakob? Right,
this is a story.
Here we go.
That has, since you left, had a mind of its own, mate. It's gone off. There's so many false stories out there. I've had fans come up to me and tell me why I'm called Snake, and I'm like, that is what?
Massive piece.
Actually, I had this conversation with Soph today. She was like, you reckon Jimmy will ask you about the why they call you Snake? And she was like, oh yeah, it's because of this, isn't it? And I was like, no. And she was like, oh, Matty Williams told me that's what it was. And I was like, no, it's not. There's some elaborate stories as to why I'm called Snake.
Here's your chance to set it straight.
Like all great nicknames that stick, the actual story is real shit. It's not exciting at all. So I remember walking into the analysis room at London Irish. All the laptops were taken up. So I stood in the doorway for a few seconds, and Ross Neal got up and went, I'm going to get my notepad out of the changing rooms. Do not go on this computer. I'm still using it. So he walked out, and I went straight onto the laptop, logged him out, started watching my own stuff. He walked in the door, and like Ross is like real dramatic. He walked back in the door and just went, oh, classic Snakob, and just walked off. And I remember your little head in the corner perked up with your black snapback on. Like, I remember going away on my thing, and I think a couple of the boys left, and it was only me and you in the analysis room. And this might have been the first conversation we had actually ever. And you've just gone, why do the boys call you Snakob? And I've gone, well, they don't. It's just Ross was annoyed at me, and it rhymes my name. Like, they don't. You go, oh, they will now. And then this is where you're going to have to take over. Did you then go and tell Kibbo to get in on it? Because for the next month, every time I did anything at the club, like I'd catch a ball, I'd do an acceleration in the warm-up, just you and Kibbo just, yes, Snake. Oh, Snakey, how good. Oh, like non-stop free training, non-stop. And then I remember, like, maybe a couple of months later, I got named in the team for my first start. And Clarkie's going through the team. And he's like, "Hey, Sneaky will be in at 10." And I was like,
it's official. It's official.
Yeah. And then for 2 years, nobody called me Jacob at London Irish.
True.
Not one person.
Snakob it is.
Yeah, it started off a little bit. It started off a little bit in recent years.
I thought it was. I thought you named it way before that.
Well, because you heard Ross say it, I think you obviously assumed that it was a thing, but no, you and Kibbo started it.
Oh, what a nickname. What a story. Okay, next question from Ben Loader. Top 3 bald icons.
Oh, Jesus, what a great question.
Top 3. I think I know one.
Top 3 bald icons. Who do you think it is?
I'll see if you can.
Yeah. In rugby or in the world?
In the world. Anywhere.
Okay. Top 3 bald icons. Jason Statham.
Okay.
Rocks it.
Yeah.
Makes it look cool. Jason Statham. Nathan Lyons.
Oh, yeah.
Australian cricket bowler, bowling Gaza.
Yeah.
Icon. Johnny Sins.
Oh, wouldn't have got that.
Nah. And last one. Like The Rock, maybe.
Oh, The Rock.
Like, because if you're gonna be bald, you've got to try and get swole. Do you know what I mean? Jeez, that'd be a hell of a crew.
Oh, I can't believe Ben Franks missed out.
He would have definitely been in my rugby bald icons, 100%.
Okay. Well, let's go your rugby bald icons.
All time. Are we saying full bald, like brave to shave, or like can I count guys that are real receders?
Nah, brave to shave, like you.
Brave to shave, right? Ben Franks.
Yeah.
Straight off the bat. Felipe Contepomi.
Okay, nice.
Bald 10.
Bald 10, yeah.
There you go.
Kicking guru.
Yeah. And I'll go Billy Meeks. Billy Meeks.
Very
makes
similar.
it look real good.
Yeah, he does.
Good player, good lad. Yeah, Billy Meeks.
Couple of good top threes there, Snake.
Hey, thanks, boss.
Okay, next question. Is Lazarus the GOAT?
Is Lazarus the GOAT? Well, he's better than your old pony. What was that? The director? Jesus. That thing used to go like a wheelie bin, boss.
Lazarus, the greatest racehorse of all time. Come on.
Lazarus is the greatest trotter of all time.
Is he?
I don't know about racehorse.
Yeah.
There's a few big ones over here. You've got like Red Rum and all those guys. But in carriage racing, he is the GOAT. Never be bettered. Won me a lot of money at that point.
Oh, Lazarus, what a time. Okay, this one's from Luke McLean. What's the secret from going from a full head of hair to completely bald in under 2 years?
Being a battler in a Premiership team, gee, that is stressful. I'll take anyone's hair off. Luke McLean, that's a great head of hair, isn't it? Imagine if his went.
Yeah.
The secret is I always had a bad hairline, so I think he's being very generous to me there to say from a full head of hair to bald in 2 years. I think I never started with a full head of hair.
You're born with a receder.
Yeah, straight up lasagna out of the womb. But but I think they say stress, don't they? Like can accelerate going bald. So maybe I'm quite stressed, quite high functioning.
Yeah, well, make sure you talk to someone. Has Paddy Jackson now replaced Jimmy Marshall as your favourite number 10? Oh.
Asking me tough questions here, Jim.
This is from Luke as well.
Paddy Jackson is a very good lad, a very good player. Has he replaced Jimmy Marshall? He's not as square as you though, boss. He likes to. I've heard him. He's said to me before, like, I think I can just kick out to the second defender here and then affect the line. And I've just gone, don't do that. Stay square. Like I'm in my head, I'm looking at it and I'm like, it makes sense. Like if you could get out one more defender, like it makes sense. But then in the back of my head, I'm like, Jimmy's just like, stay square, man. Like don't go back on what you believe in. So for pure square purposes, Jim, I have to say you the squarest bloke ever to play in the Premiership.
Square and straight. Okay. Do you still think about missing that run out at Headingley?
So that was the best summer of my life, man. Jesus Christ. This is a joke about me being Nathan Lyon. So the summer, that summer of cricket in England, when we won the World Cup and it went straight back into an Ashes series, like I'm a huge cricket fan, like a massive cricket fan. I've always loved it. But loads of the boys, I managed to get loads of the boys into it over the World Cup and then in the Ashes. So everyone was into it by the time that happened. And the Australian team, when Nathan Lyon's bowls are like, I don't know if you've watched much of it, but like every time he bowls, you just hear them in the back like, bowling Gaza! Oh yes, Gary, lovely Nathan, like the whole time. So boys started doing that to me in training. And it took away from the snake a little bit. There's some boys at the club that only call me Gary now.
Gary, oh.
Yeah, Curtis Rona every morning, just, Gary, how are you? But genuinely, watching him miss that run out and then when Stokesy crashed that one through the covers to win, I cried. Oh. I was so happy. Watching Nathan Lyon miss the run out that whole day, I'm tearing up thinking about it. That was unbelievable.
Let's get to the New Zealand England Cricket World Cup final. That would have to be the greatest game of all time.
Again, I cried when we won. That was probably in terms of. I think I enjoyed the Headingley Test more because it's Australia, it's the Ashes, and I'm die-hard Test cricket.
And I guess you didn't actually win that that other game, did you? Because it was technically you won on boundaries.
That's what everyone on social media is saying. But in terms of actual quality of the game, that was the best game of any sport I've ever seen.
Yeah,
the England New Zealand back and forth all day long. I did not miss a ball. Sat and watched the whole thing. Geez, that was so good. I mean, you guys must have been gutted. They deserve to win that so bad. And also, if it was India or Australia, I'd be you lose because they're all terrible blokes. But the New Zealand team are all such good lads, and they seem so nice. Watching Kane Williamson after the final, just going around smiling, congratulating all the England players. I just felt so bad for them, man. They deserved it there. Hey, number 1 Test team in the world, though now.
They are, indeed. Do you think they'd beat England?
There's some good Test cricket teams, man. There's some good Test cricket teams. It'd be interesting to see. Obviously, India just did the job on Australia, the death of Australian cricket. So it'd be good to see England, India. Then we go against you boys. Then we go against Australia in the winter. So I think by the end of the year, we'll know.
Oh, shit, you love your cricket.
Oh, mate, you should get some of them on the What a Lad podcast if you can.
Who would you want?
In that team? The Kane Williamson and Ross Taylor, and that would be cool. But I think Ferguson would go. The guy with the big moustache. Yeah. I feel like he's got some good Diesel stories. Yeah, he seems like a lad.
Oh, good stuff. Okay, next question: is featuring on this podcast the greatest accomplishment of your career so far? This is from Blair Cowan.
Yeah, it's top 2. Number 1 is still being sat next to Blair Cowan in the locker room. Yeah.
Do you sit next to him?
Achievement of my career. Sit next to him, yeah.
Do you?
Yeah. Oh. He puts his kit in my locker every single day and tells me to leave the club. And then when I move his stuff out my locker, he stares me down and asks what I'm doing. He's taken my name tag off my locker and moved it outside the changing room. He's wrapped all my kit up in cling film and thrown it in the swimming pool.
Did he?
He said to me, he was like, if you put your bag in front of my locker one more time, I'm throwing it in the swimming pool. And genuinely the next day, by pure accident, I'd sat in my locker but put my bag next to his and gone up to go to a meeting.
Yeah.
I came back, my bag was wrapped in physio tape, floating in the swimming pool.
Oh, that's good.
So that's still the highlight of my career, yeah.
Fair enough. Okay. Does the snake have any relation to Nathan Lyon? Here we go.
I actually tried messaging him on Instagram. We were during lockdown. The boys were all getting pretty good, and we were all, hadn't seen each other for months. So one of the boys had started a thing where you just once a week you have a drink, you scull your beer or whatever, and you go, "Oh, cheers, lads! I want to see this guy down a drink." One of the boy, Dolly, Tom Parton, down a beer and was like, "I want to see Gary the Goat chop a beer, blah, blah, blah." So I was then like, "Can I get Nathan Lyon to chop a beer? Send me a video and put it into the chat and ask him to nominate one of the boys." So I started working my way around oh God, how can I do this? How can I get this done? And Benny Meehan is schoolmates with Marnus Labuschagne, who's in the Australia team. And I was pesting Benny, Benny, give me Marnus's number. Send him a text, please. I need him to give me Nathan Lyon's number so I can get this video, please. And Benny was having none of it. It was like, mate, no, I can't. That's it. They're not going to like that. That's weird. Yeah. I was like, no, it'd be really funny, please. I left a message on Instagram. He's not seen it, but it was along the lines of Gazza, how you going? Take care. Just a quick one. You've been nominated to Down a Beer. Boys would love to hear from you. Nominate one of the boys when you've done it. Thanks. Look forward to hearing from you soon. And he never got back to me. So. Not related.
That's so weird. Such a weird message. Oh, I love that. Okay. Okay, couple more. Favourite bloke from AASE?
Probably I'd have to say from my ace team would be Jack Cook. Cookie,
yeah,
you obviously played with Cookie, you know he's a legend. Absolute weapon on the piss, lethal. So yeah, I'd say Cookie, best lad.
Nice. Okay, and then the best ace moment.
Best ace moment from that program. We had a bit of a rivalry with the Bristol team, which were Filton College, and we used to go real hard against each other every year. And they'd beaten us, knocked us out in the semi-final in my first year, and then the semi-final in my second year we had them at home, and we absolutely banged them. Put like 45 points unanswered on them. It was class. Yeah, we got we lost in the next round, but that was the playing highlight of my ace career for sure.
What a moment. What a career.
It was magical. It was magical. It's not been bettered since.
Oh, what a journey, Snake, and what a career. Obviously, like I said at the start, not too many Kiwis would know you, but hopefully after this episode they know what a lad you are and can follow your journey over at London Irish as you start getting a bit more game time and start breaking into the world scene in the rugby circles, because obviously you're a quality player and I'm looking forward to seeing you get your crack, hopefully sometime soon. But really appreciate you coming on the podcast and giving up your time, mate.
Thanks, Tony. Give me a call about that contract you were going to offer me later, though.
Let's do it. Tasman 10. Okay.
Thanks, Jim.
Sweet, mate. Thanks, bro.